what we learned last night was that drunk driving is a menace to officer safety. We learn it time and again at officer funerals. You know, there's been over 100 officers killed in the last 5 years by drunk drivers. You know, drunk driving is a plague for the entire society, but it's a particular menace to my people who are out late at night on patrol. Last night demonstrated that. This guy was totally out of his mind drunk. There's no excuse for how fast he was going, how hard he hit that car. And it's only by the grace of God that we're not here, you know, outside a funeral home instead of outside the hospital. So again, I thank the legislators that are here with me today, Staskunas and Ott, for taking strong positions to, I think, safeguard public safety as well as police officer safety. You know, increasing the sanctions and giving us a tool. You know, not having the ability to do roadblocks is basically a wink and a nod to drunk drivers. It's that simple. Not giving us that tool is tacit approval of drunken driving. You want to know what changes first, the culture of the law? The law changes first. Law can change culture. We've proved that again and again in our society. You change the law and you create sanctions, behavior changes. We've got to change this behavior. Good afternoon. I've just come from the bedside of Officer Val Zorich. She's been on the job since December of 2007, and last night she was hit by a 5-time convicted drunk driver. She's in the hospital with broken bones. The doctors haven't determined whether or not they're going to do surgery, but I can tell you she's in a lot of pain. I'm also here to say it's high time this state got serious about drunk driving. Now, I know it's a commonplace that when someone in your family is a victim, you take the crime seriously and personally. Well, Officer Zorich is in my family, and I take it personally. Last year, 20 officers were killed in the line of duty by drunken drivers. It's fair to say that after 2 o'clock in the morning, what we've got on the streets are drunk drivers and cops. Now, it's all well and good for elected officials to come to police memorial days that we're having all over the country this month and lament the deaths of police officers. It's quite another thing to take concrete steps to prevent those deaths. Criminalizing drunk driving is an important step in that direction. Now, I have with me today a couple of state representatives who have tried and are trying to do something about that. We have with us today Representative Tony Staskunas, Democrat from West Allis, who last year supported Wisconsin Act 100, which somewhat strengthened our laws, but I think even he would agree did not strengthen them enough. Today, we also have with us Representative Jim Ott, Republican from Mequon, who has proposed a law that criminalizes a first offense drunk driving if the BAC is 0.15 or above, and which does something else that's critical if this state gives a damn about driver safety. It allows OWI checkpoints. It allows the police to conduct drunk driving checkpoints. And as you know, the federal government frequently provides funding to do just that. It's a proven winner when it comes to decreasing the amount of drunk driving and the number of drunk driving fatalities. Last year, there were more drunk driving deaths in this state than there were murders. And that's been true every year of the last several years. Dead is dead. Preventable deaths require strong laws, whether it has to do with firearms or drinking and driving. If we're serious about protecting people from violent death, we have to have strong laws in place to alter the mental calculations of those who would drink and drive. So I'm pleased to have the representatives here with me today. I'm pleased to have the mayor here with me today. Officer Zorich should recover, but if you've seen her car, you know how close she came to death last night, and that's just simply intolerable. Mayor?
Thank you, Chief, and I want to applaud the leadership of these two state representatives who recognize that drunk driving is a serious issue in this state. And the actions that took place yesterday, the near tragedy took place, underscores once again why it is imperative that state government take this issue seriously. We cannot have people using vehicles as weapons. And when people are drunk and they're driving vehicles, that's exactly what happens. They've turned their vehicle into a weapon. So I call once again on the legislature to strengthen the drunk driving laws to ensure, in particular, that repeated drunk drivers are dealt with very seriously and that it is in fact a criminal offense.
Hi everyone, thanks for being here today. I'm State Representative Tony Staskunas. I'm very happy to be here with Mayor Barrett, Chief Flynn, and Representative Ott. It's unfortunate that we're here under these type of circumstances, but the fact of the matter is that these type of accidents happen across our state every day, and they're going to continue to happen unless the legislature, and more than just the legislature, the entire public gets serious about the culture of drinking we have in our state. I've been working since 1997 when I was first elected on drunk driving legislation, and believe me, it was very frustrating and very slow going in the beginning. We have finally got a little momentum going in the last two sessions, particularly last session with the passage of Act 100, which moved the felony threshold up to the 4th time, but we need to eliminate that 5-year look back and even push it further to a 3rd time, which Representative Ott has legislation to do, and I've joined him on that. Last session, Representative Gundrum and I, now Judge Gundrum in Waukesha, had legislation to criminalize an OWI-1 for the first time. We had a hearing on the bill. Legislature wasn't ready for it last time. We're going to try to move the ball down the field a little bit more on that issue this time around, and Representative Ott has a bill in that regard, which I've joined him on. Fighting drunk driving is not just law enforcement. They need partners. They need the legislature. They need the court system. They need the public to realize that this culture of drinking in Wisconsin has to change. I've been asked a lot over the last few years, what changes first, the culture of drinking or do the laws change? And I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that the part that Representative Ott and I have some oversight in is the legislative area. So we're going to try to move some of these bills, and we're going to move the legislature a little farther down the road. The other thing I want to mention is that you can't fight this on the cheap. We are going to need to fund this. Prison space costs money, prosecutors cost money, more judges, more extended supervision, more treatment. All of that costs money. So if the legislature is going to get serious, we are going to have to find ways to fund these efforts, because you cannot fight this on the cheap. And if we're going to do it right, we need to be strict, we need to be tough, and we need to fund what we're going to do.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, certainly our thoughts and prayers are with the officers and with their families, and we certainly thank them for their brave service to the city. I appreciate the fact that this is a bipartisan issue, and I was certainly a strong supporter of Act 100, which was introduced by Representative Staskunas last session. And what we are going to do is try to move things farther along this session. Senator Alberta Darling is taking the lead in the state Senate. I'm taking the lead in the state Assembly. The first bill we've introduced will make 3rd and 4th conviction a felony. And that will allow judges the discretion to lock repeat offenders up for a longer period of time, those cases where you just have to get the people off the roads. We're also going to raise the felony issue for every subsequent offense from number 5 and beyond. Again, that will give the judges discretion to put longer sentences on those people that we just plain and simply have to get off the roads. The other bill, criminalizing 0.15 and above blood alcohol content level, we really want to send a strong message that even though it's first offense, when you're at 0.15 and above, you're seriously impaired. So this is more than a person just going out and having one or two too many beers. This is somebody who's seriously impaired. It should be a criminal offense, and that's what we're going to try to do. I do want to emphasize that part of our effort here is not just a matter of putting more people in prison for longer periods of time. We really do want to change the culture in Wisconsin. It's not acceptable to drive while impaired. And so we're hoping with these bills, particularly criminalizing the first offense of 0.15 and above, that there's going to be a deterrent effect and that we're going to send a message. And I'm really hopeful that we're going to get help from the Department of Transportation in really publicizing what we're doing to send a strong message that if you're going to be out and drinking, make plans, have a designated driver, don't get behind the wheel while you're impaired. And I think this is an ongoing process, and I do appreciate the support from Representative Staskunas in signing on to the bills as a co-sponsor. Again, this is a bipartisan effort, and I think the other thing I want to say is I don't consider these two bills to be the end of the road. This is a part of a process that's going to continue, and when we get these bills passed, we're going to see what else we can do, because I think, again, it's a problem that's kind of endemic to our society here in Wisconsin, and one or two bills isn't going to solve it. One bill last session didn't solve it. It's an ongoing process, so we are looking at other initiatives that we'll be able to take as well. Thank you.